So this is going to be step 2. Let me show you what we're up to. So we should, if you've done video 1, step 1, you should have got as far as about 17 lines of code. We should have got your big red blob with snake written above it. What I want to do now, I guess, is I want to be able to move that red square around. So I think what we'll do is we'll start by just getting it to move, and then we'll try and get it to move with keyboard inputs. So how are we going to do that? Well, we've got the X and the Y position of the cube here. These two circles are the X and the Y position. So instead of having them as constant amounts, if we change them to variables, then up here, where do I want to initialize? I think I want to initialize between these two, actually. I think I want to put it here. Now what I can do is I can do X equals Y equals, and then I can just write 0 like that. JavaScript allows you to do that. And it's nice and clean because it's all on one line. So in theory, I can Control S, Alt Tab, F5, and I get exactly the same thing, which is great. What I want to do now is given that this game code is being called this amount of times, every time I run the game code, I want to just bounce the X up by 1. Now, can I do that? I have no idea. I think actually in JavaScript, because it's C-like, I can probably do X++. Let's give it a try. Control S, Alt Tab, F5, and off we go. Cool. Actually, that is really cool because I didn't realize that I'm going to need to redraw the background explicitly. I thought that it would be redrawing the background every time, but it's clearly not doing. And it's clearly got the default width as well, which that was useful, just kind of explaining it, because that showed me that kind of necessary timeout. So we've got a couple of things we can do. So first of all, here, actually, the first thing I would like to do is, let me see. I think the first thing I'd like to do is fill the canvas. Yeah, I think we'll do the fill canvas. So I want to, where do I want to update the X? Let's try and keep this a little bit organized. I kind of want that same exact bit of code just above here. And what I want to do is I want to make this black, because instead of, and again, I'm not using the variables now, I'm going to start from the top left. I'm going to go down to the bottom right, and instead of saying that it's 100 wide, I think I'm going to use canvas.width and canvas.height. Now this might not work because I've skipped a bit. I didn't think it'd be an issue, but it might turn out to be an issue now. Now remember, you've got to put the semicolon at the end of these lines. You don't actually need one here because we're bumping straight into the curly bracket, but the brace. But I'm going to put it in there anyway. I'm going to Control S, I'm going to Alt Tab, I'm going to F5, and we're going to say, right, okay. So that's interesting. So I don't actually need to explicitly define the width. There is a default width on here. But now that I'm redrawing the background, we've actually got a red square that moves on its own. All right, we've got 1 minute. Let's just see if we can get that being controlled by some keyboard events. So up here, as well as calling the game function, this looks a little bit different. This is document, add event listener, add event. Again, this is camel case, listener. Yeah, and then what we're going to do is we're going to give the function a name, and I'm going to call it key down, because we're only worried about keys being pressed down. We're not worried about picking them back up again. And then we're going to listen for a specific thing called a key push. Okay, and then what I want to do, well, that's going to call a function. So let's make sure we've got that function. So we've got a key down function here. Brace. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, and let's have a look at. Sorry, I've done that back to front. It's key push is the one that we've defined. Key down is the one that is the kind of the default pre-named thing. And then in here, I want event, which I'm going to call EVT, and that's the actual thing that caused it. And then what I want to say is, I want to say actually, I'm going to use a switch statement just to kind of hopefully get this finished before the 5-minute mark. EVT dot key code, close bracket, open bracket, close bracket, back up there. And then what I'm going to do is go to case, and I want to do right, so I'm going to call that, let's have a look, I'm going to do xv1 is case 39, and I'm going to say if it's case 39, then x plus equals 1. I think I've got to get rid of this, so I'm going to comment it out. I'm going to save it. I'm going to go back. I'm going to F5. And yeah, that's working. Okay, that's 5 minutes.